To those who have found solace and much-needed support within the mental health system and its various treatments, this piece is not intended to devalue or deny your experiences. To those who work hard and give so much of yourselves toward helping people move through the darkest of places, this piece is not intended to discredit your efforts, your caring, or the positive impact of what you do. We are well aware that things are not completely black and white, not all good or bad. We know that some are truly helped. It is the cogs and wheels of a broader system. The forceful action is taken based on so many assumptions of knowing what is not truly known, about which we generally speak.
However, to those who have lost any sense of self,
Who have had your truth denied,
who are angry about missing years,
who have had your real pain ignored,
who have been refused an honest choice,
who have been made to feel less than real,
who have been forced and pushed and pulled,
who have been told you don't know your own self,
who have been medicated into zombies shuffling along,
who have had your creativity and personhood stripped away,
who have been made sick by those charged with making you well,
who have been led to believe that your expectations should be low,
who may be just beginning to realize that the problem is not all yours,
who have been ripped away from families and children and jobs and homes,
who have had to spend longer recovering from treatment than the initial distress.
and who have found healing by reclaiming your right to say no and to write your own story.
This one's for you.
Compliance. 1. The act of conforming, acquiescing, or yielding. 2. A tendency to yield readily to others, especially meekly. 3. Conformity, accordance. 4. Cooperation or obedience. Compliance.
If I had to listen to where people said I'd be right now, I'd be, I don't know, in some hospital or in some dark room in my house, over-medicated.
I am someone who's been hospitalized a lot. I was hospitalized the first time when I was 17. My dad took his life 6 weeks later, and then I was sent down to a residential treatment 1,000 miles from my house to try to heal from what had just happened and the traumas that I had gone through. But that was the beginning of about 70 hospitalizations over 18 years. And I remember I was 19 years old and they told me, you're going to spend the rest of your life in and out of hospitals.
I would be in a completely different place if I were even here at all. So I am a trans person, so basically everyone felt that I should live my life in a way that made them happy, not in a way that made me happy.
Probably like gibbering in a fifth floor hospital on copious amounts of Thorazine. So I'd probably be happier, just due to, the medicated, coma I'd be in. I don't think I'd, be more functional, quote, air quotes.
I actually brought like one of, a page from one of my charts, to share. It says, patient is manifesting an acute deterioration of perceptual functioning that will have to be stabilized by the time of discharge. So there was this idea that someone like me, needed to be in a locked place, needed people to look out for their safety. I wasn't someone who was supposed to make a lot of big changes, take risks.
I probably don't have a daughter, and I probably don't have a job, and I'm probably on Social Security, and not that that's a bad thing, but I don't know how else I would take care of myself, because I don't know, it's like they cut the legs out from under you.
What I was told I was and was not gonna be, it's not true. We need not to listen. You know, we need to listen to ourselves. And had I stayed, I would not have what I have today, my job, my home, a husband.
The question that drives me hazy, am I or the others around me crazy? People tell me I just or maybe, but there was no fucking faze me. When I'm forced to take pills to contain me, even if the energy draining, even if they're not worth taking, court order, no complaining, for a point restraining, shock therapy operating, patience diverse that most certainly can hurt you. I'm waiting for a cure damn near 10 years. And doctors, that's why I'm not in the mood, like old Jonathan was with the attitude. Who knows can be scared because the illness is hereditary. So what you're saying is I only get this illness from my mother, if no other. If I choose to breathe, I can get that same illness to my seed. I grow matter. All cause these fucks took my gallbladder. Then they had to learn to ask you why I feel so hectic, cause I'm wondering what organ they'll take out next.
When I was diagnosed as being bipolar, there was a lot of emphasis on me needing like constant care and being unable to like take care of myself or regulate my mood at any point. I had discussed that I really liked doing art, and I was told that that could be triggering and that I should probably find different ways to express myself.
I was told, that, maybe work part-time at like a grocery store, or, on one occasion I was told, that I was disabled and, I probably couldn't hope to have a career at all.
I actually was told that I was too sick to even try to want to work. When I got the offer for the current job that I do, which is with the RLC, I said this, I was an outpatient, and I said it to the woman who was giving me therapy, and she said, no, you're not ready, you can't do that. And I was just like, yeah, well, I'm out. And I left.
There's a lot of like kind of lawyer expectation talk. But really the biggest thing was just don't act weird or you're going to end up like in a bad situation, which, clearly I took that one to heart.
So I went to court for both of my children, 2 separate cases, over my gender identity disorder. Oh, I'm sorry, it's gender dysphoria now. It might be something else in the DSM next week, I'm not sure. But it was just this idea that because I'm a trans person, I'm not safe around children. I'm not safe to be around my own children.
I was told I couldn't be a pet owner or a good pet owner, and owning a pet and loving an animal is like having a child. When I was very sick, I lived in fear that I'd lose my daughter, and I thought I couldn't keep an animal. And then I found this cat like 3 years ago, and wow, I loved this cat like no get out. And it was like the first year that I had her, I was still on meds, but I loved her and she loved me, and I thought they were wrong. I can't love an animal. And 3 years later, she's still alive.
I didn't lose my children in either case, but it was absolutely humiliating to be dragged into a court of law and told that you're not a good parent just because you have this supposed diagnosis. In both cases, it was just this ignorant idea, the fear of the unknown. If you don't know something, then obviously it's bad or it's dangerous because it's different. But we don't know a lot of things. At the RLC, our whole mantra is knowing that we don't know. So why is it scary?
ADHD, and they don't even really know. They just guess. They say you do when they're not even sure because they want to look professional.
They want people to think, oh, they're doctors. Everything's right with them. You can't go wrong with the doctor. They don't want people to know they don't know things. So if you don't know something and you have to say something, and if you don't, you're in big trouble. You make something up. It's not really their fault. It's kind of a force of habit.
They don't understand what's happened, why they're sad, or why they're mad, why their hearing voices, something, anything like that. They should still have a choice.
There should be no good reason to stick anybody in the hospital for any reason if they don't want to.
I get that we sometimes need help, but wow, to tell you that, you can't and that you're sick for the rest of your life. I mean, I lived till I was 30 with no medication and I was fine. And all of a sudden I had a breakdown, and that happens in people's lives. And then all of a sudden I was no longer gonna be whole. I was gonna be broken the rest of my life. I was told I was like a diabetic. That did it for me, my friends. I'm not a diabetic. So how would that work for me? How would I pop pills all my life thinking it's like you're like a diabetic when I'm not? I don't need that. And my body produces that, and my mind produces good thoughts, honest thoughts. So I'm glad I got away. Yeah.
Just name an antidepressant, antipsychotic, or anti-anxiety. I've probably been on it.
Amitriptyline, Abilify, Klonopin, Prozac.
So some of them, most of them, really all of them have some heinous side effects.
Pamelor, Paxil, Wellbutrin, Zoloft, lithium, Depakote, Topamax.
There's a lot of this, you have to take your pills. And when I quit cold turkey, people were bugging out. They were like, holy shit, Buck, at least titrate, you're gonna die. And I didn't. But they were really worried. It's kind of fun, actually, just kind of see them scurry around like ants. Like, somebody call somebody.
Basically everything. Trazodone, Seroquel. I've been on it.
So 4 years ago, I got sick, and I started seeing these visions, and started thinking to myself, what are they? I listened to the doctors in South Florida, and they said, oh, well, you need to go on medication. What you're experiencing is not normal. And I thought to myself, okay, I probably need to slow down and listen to the doctors. And once I started getting on the medication, the visions didn't really go away. They got smaller. But I also got numb, and I also got a lot of side effects.
There was always that dialogue that you're going to need to be on meds for your anxiety for the rest of your life. And so she sent me to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist, it was weird, because she changed my diagnosis again, said, I don't think you have any of this stuff. I think you have a personality disorder that's not otherwise specified. Now it's just well, what does that even mean? And she said, we don't really know yet. You're going to go to therapy, and I'm going to put you on Prozac. And it was interesting because she did put me on a low dose of Prozac, and everything seemed to be all right at that point. The Prozac just kind of felt like coffee to me. I'd take it and I'd feel a little bit of energy, and I liked feeling energetic, and I liked coffee at that point. So I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. And, I started therapy at the same time, and I was sleeping better then. I was feeling less anxious. But at the same time, there were still things off. It really made me off after a while. It wasn't that I was getting better, it was I was getting more indifferent. It wasn't that my life got better, it's just I could let my life go more to shit and just not care.
it's sort of like medicating people who are spiritual, you know? And it's, you know, I love to be spiritual. I love to connect.
So many reasons why I'm like the seasons. I turn like a leaf, then I fall down beneath. And when I get blown away, they always say, take the medication. But it's my doctor who keeps twitching to fill that form and fix brains in the kitchen. You can smell them when they're warm. That's normal? No, not really to me. Makes me want to crush pills. I'll blow them out to sea and be a bona fide freak that rides the tide inside. Just me.
I learned to really breathe and relax and just calm my mind down, and that was really all it took. And I wish I'd known that years ago and never gone down the road of started taking pills, but I really didn't know any better. I was younger when they started me on that. You know, I just went into a doctor's office. I thought I was dying when I was having panic attacks, and they said, yeah, we can stop this from happening if you take this pill. And at the time, that seemed a pretty good option, because it was either, okay, go through this thing where I feel like I'm dying, or take a pill every day. And I mean, when you're presented with that, and you have that much fear of having that happen, it seems like a good choice. But down the line, when I look back, I'm like, man, I wish I had never taken that option, and I'd known there were other routes I could go besides taking a pill to deal with my problems.
I'm not a case anymore. I'm a person who has a full life, who, you know, I don't know, I'm so much more content in my life. You know, I'm not someone, happiness isn't a state of being. Like, I think I can have moments of happiness, and I don't strive to always be happy. I still have my down times, but the truth is I'm so much more content in my life, and that means so much more to me.
You know, I've always been the square peg in the round hole, and I'm pretty okay with that. And I'm tired of being told that it's not okay. Because we are all the square peg in the round hole. Why should we try to all fit into the same mold? We're all such unique individuals. And that should be a good thing.
I'm a musician, and one of the artists that I work with was on Fuse TV presenting some of our stuff. And so my music was on TV, and that was a life accomplishment for me.
I help people that are in that same situation, and they look at me and they're like, how did you do it? You know, and I say I did it slowly, and that I listened to me. You know, really, the only thing you can do is listen to yourself. Sometimes we just give that right up to these people who we think know better, and they don't. They honestly don't know better. Not better than we know ourselves.
I never would have met my partner. I wouldn't have the job that I had if I had stayed in my room and stayed safe. I wouldn't have had a roller derby career and be number 18 Mazel Tov cocktail if I had, you know, stayed on antipsychotic medications and stayed safe. You know, sometimes taking a risk can be fun.
I just want to keep writing, keep producing, keep creating, keep working, keep living life, and say fuck you to all these other people who think I'm crazy.
There's nothing to indicate that I would have had to take this for the rest of my life, and that was what I was told. You know, you have a chemical imbalance and need to take these medications for the rest of your life, and that just wasn't true. It's just that's not. I don't know. It's not good medicine.
Making a change is more than just saying no, but as these stories illustrate, it is often a necessary place to start. We'd like to take a moment to share some alternatives outside of the medical model for your consideration.
going to send you to the hospital. And if you will cooperate with those doctors, I think they'll be able to do you some good.
Tools are shackles, shackles are tools. I was taught early on to follow the rules. Tools are shackles, shackles are tools. I was taught early on to follow.
They said your mind is sick, and how do we know? It's from the odd behaviors that you show.
Luckily we got a tool to help you out. It's called a diagnosis with a type in amount.
A medication, it'll restore your health. What you thought you knew, you could put on a shelf.
Now medication is our most revered tool. Did I mention it can cause you to drool?
Every Wednesday we use a tool for your injection. Trust us is for urine our protection.
You got an illness that you can call a sin, but our tools are for you from a balanced prison.
Systematic new world, smaller than what you're used to. Safe, be grateful for what you're reduced to.
Life may be a little boring and maybe a little dull, but don't blame us, blame the unruly brain in your skull.
In our system, everyone's got a place but no direction.
You may not be moving, but you agree you require correction.
I agree, I need a structure that I don't dispute,
but I didn't need to be made a gently mute.
I guess when you think about it, a shackle's a tool.
But anyone who would try to free someone with a shackle has got to be a fool.